Hello people, Edwin Learnard here. In this segment I am going to be giving you my predictions for 2012 NFL season, week number 13. So let me get started with the Atlanta-New Orleans game. I think Atlanta's at home. I like Atlanta. New Orleans, I think we found out maybe something about them last week. Yes, I remember what Drew Brees said about the Saints book not having been officially written yet or what have you, but I think Atlanta can win this game, mainly because they are at home and they're everything but invincible and indomitable at their building. I think they're like 30-5, with Matt Ryan as starting quarterback at home. So I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons in that game. Next game, Buffalo at home over Jacksonville. I will take Buffalo only on virtue because really they are at home. They're floundering. They are obviously not playing well and have not met expectations. To many of the football world and what they had expected to do this season. Jacksonville, will be playing. They'll probably be a little bit better with their new quarterback they have, but. And I expect it to be competitive maybe, but I think Buffalo still will take this one. Next game, I'm going to take the Chicago Bears at home over the Seattle Seahawks. Two premier defenses going up, Jay Cutler being back with Chicago. They're at home. I think, that's basically the tiebreaker. And Chicago, is looking, to get into the playoffs. Seattle is still on that quest. But I think Seattle, to me, took a little drop back last week in losing to Miami. I think that, a team on paper that I felt, was inferior defeated them. Now they have to go on the road, and they lose this game, they're obviously going to be, hard pressed possibly to make the playoffs. So I'll take Chicago. St. Louis at home versus 49ers. Well, I know St. Louis played them tough the last time and basically, essentially played them to a standstill. But I think the 49ers right now are, going to come at them with the vengeance and show that they're better than the team that they showed the last time they played them. San Francisco looked really impressive last week against the Saints, and I think they're going to continue their run. This game, I like the 49ers. Next game, New England, I'm going to take them on the road against Miami. I think New England is pretty much a shoo-in to win this division, and I don't think Miami is going to be much of a stumbling block or obstruction in them getting to that division title. If they win this game, they'll be, even could move a lot closer to winning it as opposed to losing the division. So I think they will, should pull this one out. New York Jets at home versus Arizona Cardinals. Well, Arizona New York Jets, this is almost like one of those toilet bowl games. But I think, as in many games, the tiebreaker goes to the home team. I think the Jets will win this one. They're playing for pride, essentially, right now. They're everything but mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. And, the team, they were in an identity crisis all year, and I don't think they've ever gotten out of it. I think they're still in it. They need to figure out, what's going to happen with Tim Tebow. Are they going to incorporate him into the lineup, or are they just going to forget about him and, trade him away next season? Anyway, I like the Jets at home. Detroit at home over Indy. Indy seems to be the better team on paper than the Detroit Lions, but Detroit is at home. They are still a formidable home team enough where they can make games very competitive, and they've lost two tight ones recently. I think the tide changes. I think they're due to win a close one anyway. I'm going to take on Matthew Stafford, Ndamukong Suh, and the Detroit Lions. I think they'll play well in this game, and I like them at home. Green Bay at home versus Minnesota. I think Green Bay, despite playing poorly last week, they will be at home in this game, and that's another team that you can pretty much you're assured of them winning, pretty consistently, whenever they play at home. Minnesota, I know Adrian Peterson, their quarterback, Ponder, Minnesota's an okay team right now. But we don't really know who we're going to see week in and week out. I think Green Bay, they're a little more consistent, and being at home, I do like them. Next game, Tennessee Titans at home versus the Houston Texans. I think I'll take Houston on the road. Houston is on a mission this season. Tennessee, they had an opportunity to stay in playoff contention last week, and they just squandered it big time. And I don't know if, they can really, bounce back from losing to Jacksonville. Now they got to play one of the premier teams in the league, even though it's at home. I think Houston takes this one. Next game. I'm going to take Carolina on the road versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Both these teams are not very good, but Carolina is just a little bit better than Kansas City right now. Cam Newton, I think he, finally showed last week, his potential and was trying to come out of his, possible sophomore slump. I think he, will continue his good play enough and defeat the Kansas City Chiefs. Next game, I'm going to take Denver at home over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Denver Broncos right now, it's another team on a mission. This could be a team that could really, be a powerhouse right now and could go deep in the playoffs. And Peyton Manning, he's playing lights out. This team is on a rampage. They have been relentless recently. I believe they, despite Tampa Bay, has played well recently, I think, Denver at home is the tiebreaker, and I'll take the Broncos. Next game, Oakland at home against the Cleveland Browns. I'll take Oakland at home. Oakland has really been struggling. Cleveland can make this game competitive because their defense and passing defense, perhaps especially, will keep them in contention, to win this game during, much of the game. But I think Oakland still finds a way to pull it out, and being the fact that they are home, they have to win at some point, and I think this is the, game that they will win. San Diego at home versus Cincinnati Bengals. I'm starting to lose hope with the San Diego Chargers. I thought, last week, they had a game which I felt they should have won. I know there was a controversial call in regulation, but it should not have even come down to that. They had the game and they lost it, and now they're like 4-7, I believe. And can they really? Is this team resilient enough to bounce back now? With all the questions surrounding Philip Rivers, is he still the same quarterback, etc., etc. All the distractions. North Turner, will he return next season? I think it's just too much. I think Cincinnati will take this one in a close one. Baltimore Ravens, I'll take them at home with their ravenous defense against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Baltimore Ravens, they are for real. They pulled out a gutsy win last week on the road in a tougher environment than a lot of people think at San Diego. And Pittsburgh, if Big Ben doesn't come back, especially in this one, I don't believe he will. I think the Baltimore Ravens, this is their game to lose. They will win this one and edge a little closer to that division title in the process. I'll take the Dallas Cowboys in the next game at home versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia just can't, do anything right now. They can't play defense for anything. I think Dallas Cowboys, even though they're not playing at an exactly phenomenal level right now, they're at home, and basically a mediocre team at home has the capability of beating the Eagles, and I will take Dallas at home. Last but not least, interesting game. Washington is at home versus the New York Giants. Washington seems to play the Giants very well over the last few seasons or so, and their quarterback R.G. Griffin III has really rejuvenated this team and given them a big spark. They did everything but beat the G-Men in the last game they played at New Jersey. But I think the Giants' win last week against Green Bay will give them the momentum the rest of the season. I don't expect this team to be complacent in this game. I think they will come in and they will defeat the Washington Redskins, although in a close game. And they're going to, I think the Giants could very well steamroll the rest of the way. The Giants, we probably noticed over a few years that they're notorious for playing to the level of the competition. And whenever, they play an upper echelon team, they have the tendency to beat them. But whenever they, it seems like a lot of times in these games against these mediocre teams or teams below 500, it's almost like a trap game, and they don't seem to play to their potential, or they just simply lose. But I think the Giants will, right the ship as far as, playing these teams and doing what they're supposed to do against them, and they will defeat Washington in this week. Anyway, people, that will wrap it up, and stay tuned for next week when I will be giving you my predictions for Week 14 in the NFL season. Until next time, people, stay well.